Las Vegas for TVKO's Fight of the Month for June. For over half a century, June has meant great heavyweight bouts. And tonight, the bright lights of this desert town will shine on yet another. Former heavyweight champion Larry Holmes is anxious to prove that the skills he used to dominate his division for nearly a decade have withstood the test of time and will help him recapture the crown. This legendary boxing hero takes center stage on the same night another hero comes back to Hollywood. Batman returns, and so too does Professor Larry Holmes.
I'm the Eastern Assassin, and I'm back.
But his foe is not the Penguin. It's the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield. Holyfield is determined to prove that he is the real deal. He plans to leave the ring exactly the way he enters it, taking his 3 belts and flawless record with him. He also plans to teach Professor Holmes a lesson.
You are definitely in the wrong class. It's holy time.
Will youth dominate wisdom? History has proven when it's heavyweights, anything can happen. TVKO presents Class of Champions, Evander Holyfield versus Larry Holmes.
Holyfield landing inside.
We are live from Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada. TVKO proudly presents the Fight of the Month for June. Class of Champions, the battle for boxing's most coveted crown. Evander Holyfield puts his undisputed heavyweight title on the line against the former champion, Larry Holmes. That's our main event. We'll begin our evening with 3 more spectacular bouts. First up, a junior featherweight fight. Former WBC champion Pedro Decima takes on undefeated NABF champ Rudy Zavala in a bout scheduled for 10. Then Cuban-born Pan American gold medalist Jorge Luis Gonzalez takes on a seasoned contender with 24 knockouts, Michael Greer, that in heavyweight action. Then the NABF welterweight championship is on the line as Roger Turner defends his ground against the Mexican champion Luis Yoriboy Campos. The TVKO Fight of the Month for June is brought to you by Budweiser, the undisputed king of beers. You are looking at the outdoor arena and complex of Caesars Palace, where later tonight, former heavyweight champion Larry Holmes hopes to become just the 4th champion to reclaim his crown. A near-capacity crowd will be on hand to watch as current champion Evander Holyfield tries to add Larry's name to a long list of champions who have failed to regain their place at the top. Hello again, everyone. I'm Cambrell Marshall, and welcome to TVKO's Fight of the Month for June. The time for talking is done. The heavyweight championship of the world is our main event. We've also got heavyweight action. Jorge Luis Gonzalez, who defected to this country from Cuba amid much fanfare about a year ago, hopes to add to his undefeated record. The NABF welterweight championship on the line. Both these fighters undefeated. Both of them pack a powerful punch. You don't want to miss that. But our the heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield, defending his title for the first time back in April of 1991. He's going to do it again tonight, the 3rd title defense against Larry Holmes. Our main event is just moments away now, and certainly it is a champion against the former champion. Larry Holmes has said, yes, there is big money at stake, and the fact that he is getting a bit more than $7 million has made it quite easy for him to get motivated to get back into training for this fight. As far as Evander Holyfield is concerned, the earlier comments last fall about him possibly retiring, forget it. You'll never hear that from him again. Different attitudes from both men as they step into the ring tonight, yet both ultimately are singing somewhat the same song. Aretha Franklin sang it well many years ago. All they're looking for is some kind of respect. It's 6 a.m., Heights Gym, Houston, Texas. Trainers George Benton and Lou Duva look on as heavyweight champion Evander Holyfield works on the best conditioned body in boxing. Tradition dictates that boxers run early in the morning and train in the afternoon. Evander, however, has good reason to break from that tradition.
When I wanted to make the Olympic team, I said to myself, well, I'm going to start getting up early in the morning, start working, and start doing all the hard work before the distraction come about. And, you know, it's easy right now, me being the heavyweight champion of the world, to be distracted.
His distraction these days is former heavyweight champion of the world, Larry Holmes. 7.5 years, Holmes reigned over the heavyweight division, dating back to June 1978, when he won the title from Ken Norton.
We went 15 rounds of fighting. No slack at all. We fought for 15 rounds. And it was a great fight. And that's the night I won the championship. So that was history in the making for me.
He went on to defend that title 20 times, amassing a record of 48-0. Holmes was threatening Rocky Marciano's 49-0 record when he took on 1976 Olympic gold medalist Michael Spinks. After a hard-fought battle and a unanimous decision, Spinks was handed the title. Unjustly for Larry, the legacy of his long and distinguished career seemed to hang on a few words blurted out in anger at the post-fight press conference.
Rocky couldn't carry my jockstrap.
He returned 7 months later, only to lose a second controversial decision to Spinks. Once again, he lashed out in anger at a system he felt betrayed him.
I can say to the judges, the referees, the promoters, the kids where the sun don't shine. And since we're on HBO, that's my big black behind. The people want to go around and be aggravated for things that I said, lose sleep over the things I said. That's their problem. I can't worry about it. I got a life of my own, family. I just got to continue to go forward and keep trying to do the right thing and not get hurt.
Holmes left boxing until January of 1988, when he made his return against one of the most devastating punchers in ring history.
Take the Mike Tyson situation. Everybody said, boy, Mike Tyson beat you up.
That was a right hand, and down goes Holmes from a crashing right hand.
He didn't beat me up. He just came out and knocked me out and got on out the ring. There was no long beating.
Meanwhile, Evander Holyfield was fighting his way to the top of the boxing ranks. After winning the bronze medal in the '84 Olympics, Holyfield turned pro in November of that year. It would be 6 long undefeated years until he won the heavyweight title in October of 1990 when he knocked out newly crowned champion James Buster Douglas. In April of '91, Holyfield was still being labeled as too small to fight as a heavyweight. Having undergone the most comprehensive training in boxing, once again he proved the critics wrong. This time he was to face Big George Foreman. It was 12 grueling rounds of toe-to-toe action. When the smoke cleared, Evander had won a unanimous decision.
Man showed that, he wasn't going to take anything lightly. And that proved that, he wasn't old and he had that desire to win.
The greatest threat to Evander's title came in his own hometown of Atlanta at the hands of Bert Cooper.
In trouble. Cooper bangs away. Holyfield almost goes down.
Once he hit me that shot, I'm like, bam, it didn't hurt. I just didn't have no control of my body. But, I was able to show them that, our champion is one who can take a lick and keep taking. You give some, and you take some, and you give some.
While Holyfield was packing the big halls, Larry Holmes was hard at work mounting a comeback, hoping his experience could take him once again to the top.
Larry Holmes, the master, to teach things that these guys never had learned. And I still have the capability to do my own thing, not only to teach, but to fight, and the will to survive.
In February, he proved his theories against undefeated gold medalist Ray Mercer. Using the skills of a crafty veteran, he was able to thoroughly frustrate Mercer and score the upset of the year.
He wanted to knock the old man out. He wanted badly to get me. So I gave it to him. I gave him the head and took it away.
Evander's won 14 of his last 15 fights by knockout, 8 of those being in the heavyweight division. He could not be more confident in his abilities. To his critics, he says what? To his opponents, it's watch out.
I get up to prove just how good I am. I feel that I know, and just other people don't. And this is what they got to see.
You're going to come out and fight me like you're going to try to knock this old man out. And I'm going to say, go ahead, brother, do it. Do it. Show me. Show the world that you are the champion that you claim that you are. Show the world that you won all and can gain all the respect that a champion should get.
And it's about time. TVKO's Fight of the Month, the main event, the heavyweight championship of the world. Evander Holyfield defending his title against Larry Holmes, hoping to regain the crown. It's time to get it on, as Mills Lane will say in just moments from now. And to call the action at ringside, as always, let's go now to Lynn Berman. Lynn?
Thank you, Cambrell Marshall. We really have a couple of shadow boxers here tonight. For Evander Holyfield, he's been boxing in the shadow of Mike Tyson. Will they ever meet? That's the question. They were supposed to meet tonight. And of course, for Larry Holmes, always in the shadow of Muhammad Ali during his championship years for 7 years. He eventually fought Ali and beat him. But here we go tonight. I find Larry Holmes' comments very interesting. He said his real championship was beating Ray Mercer, and then he said he's in this only for the money. Now, does this sound like comments from somebody who expects to win the championship tonight?
Well, in all fairness to Larry Holmes, he has changed his tune there. He said that he has fought in the past for just money. I think in particular the Mike Tyson fight, where he only trained 2 months. In this instance, he had 6 or 7 comeback fights. He took on a top-rated contender, something that nobody else in the top 10 has done besides Evander Holyfield, and beat Ray Mercer, who was a highly regarded fighter. And I think now he's fighting for more than just money. Of course, he wouldn't snub his nose at it. He's making $7 million. But I think he's fighting for a lot more and wants to really win the world title.
What do you expect here tonight? When we called the Foreman fight, it went the distance, and of course people criticized Holyfield, as they always do. They said he couldn't knock out the old man. Do you expect that kind of similar fight here tonight?
Well, I think you have a different type of fighter in Larry Holmes. One is a little bit more mobile than George Foreman is, one who throws more punches and a little bit more accurate. I think you're going to see a good fight out of Larry Holmes, but I think Evander Holyfield really is the cream of the crop right now in the heavyweight division. He throws too many punches, a lot of good combinations, and a very accurate fighter.
All right, just keep in mind the number 7. Something eventful always seems to happen in Larry Holmes' career in the 7th round. We'll keep that in mind if it goes that far. Let's start with our Goosen's Corner and begin with Larry Holmes.
All right, here we go. Well, Larry Holmes, obviously he has to do what got him here, box. He has to counter punch Evander Holyfield, but also be prepared to catch the counter punches that Holyfield will throw, and be prepared for 12 torrid rounds, because Evander Holyfield can go 3 minutes, 12 rounds, and you got to be in shape for him.
Metro, you there in front? Okay.
And Larry Holmes. Larry Jr. in front of him. It's amazing to think that he won the title here in Las Vegas way back in 1978. Split decision over Ken Norton, who was the champion for 7 years. And there's a lot of history involved tonight. Only Archie Moore was older, fighting for the title. And of course, he got to this night with a surprising win over the previously undefeated Ray Mercer.
With Ray Mercer, a young lion. I was 5-1 underdog to lose. I can never beat a Ray Mercer. I think he's one of the best fighters out there. The name of the game is to have fun.
Holmes is talking to our camera. He says, I'm not Tommy Morrison. He's carrying on his own commentary. We should stop talking, Joe.
But I showed them that Larry Holmes, the master, can teach things that these guys never had learned. Not only to teach, but to fight and the will to survive.
The granddaddy of all heavyweights, a grandfather of 2, as he starts to make his way toward the ring here in the outdoor arena at Caesar's Palace. As you see, attempting to become the oldest fighter to win a heavyweight championship. In fact, he would be the oldest to win in any division. And as we mentioned earlier, trying to become the 4th to regain the title. Floyd Patterson twice, Floyd Patterson once, Muhammad Ali twice, and Tim Witherspoon. And, you know, Joe, this is his 25th title fight, which ties Muhammad Ali. Only Joe Louis had more at 27.
Well, Larry Holmes really ranks up there. If you look at the history of the heavyweights, he holds or is in the top 3 of almost every record that the heavyweights have held. He's in almost every single one of them, all the departments. So, you know, he's been a great fighter his whole life. No matter what happens tonight, he has been a credit to boxing. 20 title defenses over 7.5 years when he was champion.
Remember, in Atlantic City, the crowd was very neutral, if not negative, towards Holmes in the beginning. And by the end of the fight, they were yelling, Larry, Larry.
They weren't neutral. They were downright disdainful of Larry Holmes coming into that fight. That was a Ray Mercer town. And by the end of the fight, they were all on Larry Holmes' side.
That's the setting. It has cooled off here in the Las Vegas night. What was 100-degree temperatures earlier. breezes going through the arena as Larry Holmes heads towards the ring at Caesars Palace. He enters the ring a 3-4-1 underdog. 54-3 with 37 knockouts. This is his 7th comeback fight. We mentioned that number 7 earlier, as well as his fights average 7 rounds over his long career. The over-under for this fight, 7.5 rounds. He's been knocked down twice in the 7th round to both Snipes and Shavers. Came back to win both in 11. So the number 7, very predominant in the history of Larry Holmes. Of course, 7 is a big number here in Las Vegas. All right, Goosen's corner to the champion, Evander Holyfield.
All right, Evander Holyfield, I mean, he looks so well chiseled for this fight. He's got to pressure Larry Holmes. He's got to attack to the body, something that Ray Mercer didn't do, at least until it was a little too late. Punching combinations. When Holmes punches, he's got to punch back in combinations, outspeed Larry Holmes.
And here comes the champion.
This is you, champ. This is you.
This is his 3rd title defense. And he won his heavyweight belt October the 25th, 1990. A 3rd round knockout of the vanquisher of Mike Tyson, Buster Douglas.
I'm saying to myself, this is my round. And he threw the uppercut, and I jumped in with a right hand, and when I hit him, he had fell, and I went to the corner, and I just said, stay down. Stay down.
And the new undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield.
And we're back live since that victory over Douglas. The decision over George Foreman in April of '91. And then the Bert Cooper fight. Cooper taking it on short notice. Nearly had Holyfield out in the 3rd round. Mills Lane, the referee that night, as he was this night. Eventually, Holyfield winning in 7. But it's interesting to note that Holyfield's had just 7 rounds in the last 422 days. So it's been a somewhat controversial reign as he is fighting for respect. But the bottom line on Evander Holyfield is, as he enters the ring, all he does is win. He's 27-0 with 22 knockouts. And there's Mills Lane, circuit court judge, who's our referee tonight. And the tail of the tape for tonight's heavyweight championship fight. Obviously, the difference in age is the first thing that will strike you. 13 years. Similar in height, although Holmes certainly does seem to be more than half an inch taller than Holyfield. Holmes, of course, 23 pounds heavier and has that reach advantage. And of course, we'll keep our eye on that left jab of Holmes. And the CompuBox statistics, Joe.
All right, there's a four fight average. Of course, Holmes, we're including the illustrious Michael Greer and Art Card in those 4 fights that he has here. Evander Holyfield, of course, throws a lot of punches along with Holmes, but the connect percentage here just barely edged out Holmes by a couple percent. The punches landed here is the key for Holyfield. He's a lot busier and he lands a lot more punches than Holmes does. Holmes is a lot more particular about the punches he throws. Here jabs, a 4 fight average, of course. Holmes is this is the big stat right here. How many jabs per round? He's going to have to keep that on Holyfield, keep him out there. If he can do that, land a higher percentage of jabs, he's going to be in this fight tonight.
As some of the fans start to chant Larry. Our rules tonight, same as the previous fights. 10-point must system, and Holmes leading the cheers in the ring, waving his fist. No standing 8 count. 3 knockdown rule is in effect. Saved by the bell in only the 12th and final round. that goes that far. Only the referee can stop the fight. So we are ready to go. Let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, Main Events Monitor Productions, Top Rank Incorporated, and the undisputed, undefeated King of Beer, Budweiser, present the featured bout of the evening. This bout is dedicated to the memory of Chuck Minker. It is sanctioned by the WBA, the WBC, and the IBF, with the approval and sanctioning of the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Chairman Luther Mack, Commissioners Nat Carasali, Dr. Elias Ghanem, Bruce Lane, and Dr. James Nave, Chief Inspector Mark Ratner, Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Flip Pomansky, attending physicians, Dr. William Berliner and Dr. Robert Boyd. The timekeepers, Mike Lachella, counting for the knockdown seconds, Al Bisick. The scoring for this bout will be done on a 10-point must system, and the 3 judges assigned ringside are Carol Castellano, Glenn Hamada, and Chuck Jampa. And once the bell rings, the man in charge of all the action working for the 66th time in a world title bout, Mills Lane. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the site where legends are made, Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada, let's get ready to rumble! 12 rounds of boxing for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing their white trunks with red trim and weighing in at 233 pounds. His overall career totals are 54 victories against only 3 defeats, with 37 KOs to his credit. For 7.5 years, he ruled the division, making 15 defenses of the title. Tonight, he returns to Caesar's Palace, where he won it all in '78. Ladies and gentlemen, from Easton, Pennsylvania, the challenger, former heavyweight champion of the world, the Eastern Assassin, Larry Holmes. And his opponent fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the gold trunks with white trim, weighing in at an even 210 pounds, is 1984. Olympic bronze medalist, was the first of that great '84 team to win a world title, becoming cruiserweight champion in only his 13th bout as a professional. Since moving up to the heavyweight division, he's maintained a perfect record, which now totals 27 victories without a defeat, 22 by KO. Ladies and gentlemen, from Atlanta, Georgia, the 2-time world champion and current undefeated, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Evander, the real deal, Holyfield.
All right, gentlemen, this is for the championship of the world. We've been through all the instructions, picked a tough, clean fight, and check yourself at all times. Any questions from Mr. Holmes in his corner? Any questions, Mr. Holyfield in his corner? Let's get it on.
Holmes tried to stare at him, and Holyfield just smiled. And earlier, Larry trying to take the mic from Michael Buffer and tell him how many championship fights he's had. As you see the disparity in championship rounds, Larry winking to some people at ringside, both very relaxed.
Down his throat. There we go.
Well, that's going to change in about another 5 seconds because they won't have time for grabbing mics or smiling at each other. They're going to get down to business, and here we go.
Holyfield going right at Holmes. Said he wants Holmes to be active. He doesn't want him to be in a defensive posture. Holyfield said he's been most successful with boxers who have fought him.
And what he means by that, Len, is he likes a fighter to open up with him and trade punches with him, because really that's where Holyfield has been most successful. When Douglas opened up with him, caught him with a good counter punch. Dokes, of course, in that wild fight they had right here, he opened up and knocked him out finally in the 10th round, I believe. So that's one of the things that Evander enjoys, a good brawl.
You see Holyfield easily ducking the punches of Larry Holmes here in the early going. Holyfield goes to the body. Remember, George Foreman was able to land many punches on Holyfield. And of course, you know what Bert Cooper was able to do in that third round. We get to see what Larry Holmes can do as far as landing punches. A minute gone in the first. There goes Holmes sticking out that left hand of his, as he's wont to do.
Of course, in that fight against George Foreman, we saw Evander Holyfield in those mid-rounds land some of the most exceptional combinations that I've seen thrown, really, especially by a big man, a big heavyweight.
Holmes went to the right hand. Didn't do much damage. Holyfield's been working the body a bit. Now he comes with the overhand right. Goes to the body with the jab. Holyfield doing some body work midway through the first round.
As I mentioned before, that was something that Ray Mercer didn't do throughout the fight against Larry Holmes, and was doing that, headhunting and throwing some wild punches like that. But Holyfield obviously learned from that, and he's going downstairs right off the bat.
Holyfield has been in command nearly 2 minutes into the round. Left hand from Evander. Well, as Holmes said to the camera, he was no Tommy Morrison against Mercer. He's quickly learned that Evander Holyfield is no Ray Mercer here.
It's a very good point, because Evander Holyfield really is fighting the right fight, putting pressure on, and putting Larry Holmes in a defensive posture throughout this first round.
Holmes is yet to land a good blow. It's been Evander Holyfield here in the first round. Low blow from Holmes, a low blow. Mills Lanes will warn him.
Well, Mills Lane got a little bit more upset about that low blow than Evander Holyfield did. It's as if it never even landed. Holyfield came right back after Holmes.
Holmes' punch is blocked. Holyfield finishes off with a left. Another one. That's the round. Seemed a bit long, but that's the round to Holyfield.
Give him a little bit more angle. I got you. Give him a little bit more angle.
All right. Here we go. I think we're going to show in a few seconds here a little replay of that right hand landed by Larry Holmes at the end of the round. It was about the only punch he threw and landed. Thing right there on the nose of Evander Holyfield. Didn't seem to bother Evander much, because he came right out of it with a nice left hook that fell a little short. There's that right hand. And if we would have gone on a little further, we would have seen Evander come out of that crouch with a left hook.
He came through his right hand. He got his right hand busy. All right, now you're doing okay.
Beautiful, but you're getting good rhythm out there. Good rhythm out there.
Seconds out. Let's go, Hazel.
Get that rhythm, man. Get that rhythm. Just hold up those hands.
And Duva obviously happy with what his boxer did in the first round. Here we go for round two.
Excuse me, Len, let me throw it in, which I didn't have a chance to say on the replay. Holmes set up that right hand by extending that left hand, the one that Duva was complaining about in the locker room that he didn't want to see. But of course, as long as he doesn't do it with an open hand, a palm, he's safe. But if he opens the glove up and palms, it's an illegal tactic.
Holmes doing an effective job of parrying the blows of Holyfield. Holyfield obviously the quicker fighter. Glancing right hand. Larry dug a right low, and Holyfield with a left to the body.
Well, Evander Holyfield, Larry Holmes threw a right uppercut, and Evander Holyfield just missed with a beautiful counter left hook. And that's the thing that I think Evander has in his favor here, is that good speed, the good counter punch.
Well, here's where it looks like the Mercer fight. Holmes was content to stay in the corner and scored. And here Holyfield, now he's scoring with two left hands. The uppercut from Holmes. Oh, left hand from Larry Holmes. So the Mercer tactic working here against Holyfield. Holyfield content to stay in here rather than dancing away. That was the argument earlier. What if Holyfield went out to the middle of the ring and Holmes didn't come back after him?
Well, Holyfield's not the type of guy that says, I'm not going to come over after you and go to the middle of the ring and wait for him. He's going to take the attack right to Holmes like he's doing right now. This is shades of the Ali rope-a-dope right here that Holmes is trying to employ. And throw a nice right hand off of Holyfield's chin.
And the crowd roaring. They thought that Holyfield was staggered. But Holyfield now coming back. The right hand from Holmes. Holyfield content to dig his head in here in the second round. Oh, Holmes with the right uppercut.
The right uppercut that landed a little low. Of course, Mills Lane on the other side didn't see it, but snuck that one in a little low.
Content to stay in the corner, and Holmes scoring. Now Holyfield backs off. At least Holyfield consistent in all of his defenses. He takes punches. Many of them.
Look at
Holmes looking down towards the commentators.
Well, he's looking directly at George Foreman, the man he has eyes for as far as if he wins this fight, that's the man he wants to fight. Larry Holmes wants to fight George Foreman.
And he's giving it to Evander Holyfield more than he's getting.
And right now he's fighting Evander Holyfield quite well right here in the corner.
Final seconds of the second round. George Foreman working tonight's bout for HBO on tape delay. And a big smile, he's looking down. No, Duba says go to the other corner, and Holmes pats him on the head. Larry enjoying himself.
Wow, he's got to be feeling pretty good about himself right now, Larry Holmes.
Stay out of his corner. Understand? Stay out of his corner.
Let the guy run out of gas on you. Okay? Now give me that good jab.
All right, here we go. Back to the corner here. This could have been any point in time. There was that low blow I was talking about. Followed it with a right uppercut. Threaded the needle there. A little right hand chopping to the ear. Two of them. This is exactly what he did against Ray Mercer in Atlantic City. Same sequence, but different angle. The double uppercut. Two chopping right hands.
And Lou Duva, while you're watching the replay, screaming at Holyfield, stop fighting his fight. Third round. Now they're in the middle of the ring. And Holmes goes to his hammer, the jab. It's a strong second round for the 42-year-old. With the combination.
Holmes is just so good at really deflecting punches and parrying punches. He's quite surprising at the speed that they're coming at him at, that he's able to really coordinate his hands and parry a lot of those punches from Evander Holyfield. Of course, Holyfield waiting for the one that he isn't able to parry that can maybe start off a rally for himself here. But right now, Holmes is really fighting a beautiful offensive and defensive fight.
And Holyfield trying to set it up with the jab. He did not jab as much as his corner wanted against Cooper. Trying to be more effective with it to set up that right hand here tonight. There it is, the right hand. And it was a big one. And another one from Holyfield.
Holmes' eyes are clear, though. He absorbed that quite well. He was looking right at his man in front of him.
Two big right hands absorbed by Larry Holmes. Holmes puts his hands down momentarily. The feeling is that Holmes lowers that jab at times. He can go over the top with the right. Holyfield did connect twice there. Missing as he tries to come out with the right hand. Inside of a minute remaining in the third. Holyfield connects with the left hook. And Holmes taking it all.
Well, Larry Holmes has fought off the ropes in the last two rounds, but it looked like he was doing better in the corner than he was in the middle of the ropes in the middle of the round, even though he just caught Holyfield with two short right hands.
And Holmes was smiling moments ago, almost in disdain. And he's fighting at Holyfield. 12 seconds to go in the round. Holmes staring at Holyfield, looking at him, a half smirk at times. Holmes has taken as good as Holyfield had in that third round.
You got to back him up with that left jab. You got to step in with the left jab when you're up against the ropes. Get my angle and step in. You got him reaching around you, Larry. Straight punches gonna beat him to the punch.
All right, here we go. Let's go back to the action. This is the right hand that started. That was the first good right hand that Holyfield landed. And of course, it looks like Holmes took it well. He's got his eyes focused here. And a little chopping right hand over the top. Holmes pulling him down, but it didn't hurt him as much as that right hand looked as big as it was. It didn't do that much damage. Holmes is clear right there. He took that second one right over the top there. Those can add up, obviously, after a while, but Holmes took those quite well.
And we start the fourth round. Holmes's corner wanted him to go to the jab. Holyfield, as we noted, using more of it tonight than he did against Cooper. Another right hand, glancing from Holyfield. Now Mills lane separation. Holmes' corner urging him to use the jab. Larry puts the hands down momentarily again. Almost trying to taunt Holyfield to come at him. Holmes just holding that left hand out.
Not much being landed here, but by virtue of Holyfield pressing the action, trying to make the fight happen, of course, you know, he's going to get the favorable scoring at this point as far as this round is concerned.
Now they come over to this corner. Holyfield backs off this time. Larry wants to stay in that corner. Now Holmes comes to him. Holyfield's corner wants him to move away and back off and not stay here. Yeah, now he moves away. Coming down to a minute to go in the fourth. Larry, and then look out for a little elbow and the right hand from Holmes.
Good right hand, left hook, uppercut, and Holmes is really doing quite well against the ropes. And this is obviously the reason why Lou Duva wants Holyfield to take the fight to the center of the ring.
Holmes again, effective with the right hand. The odd number rounds have gone to Holyfield thus far. The even number rounds, Holmes has been better, operating from the corners. Holyfield lands with the left and then comes back to the body. Holmes just holding his shoulders.
That's right. By holding his shoulders, he stops his arms from coming forward and humbles a lot of punches.
A couple of low blows in there from Larry as well. Uppercut from Holmes in the right hand, and then Holyfield goes after him in the final seconds of the fourth.
He does, but Holmes blocked everything that Holyfield came back with.
Not that one. Overhand right from Holyfield. Exciting end to the fourth round. And with 4 rounds complete, our guest judge, heavyweight contender Lennox Lewis. How do you score it, Lennox?
So far, I've given three rounds to Holmes and 2 rounds to 1 round to Holmes.
All right, 3 rounds to Holyfield. You gave Holyfield that last round there, Lennox?
Yes, I gave 3 rounds to Holyfield and 1 round to Holmes. Total score is 39-37.
All right, we're having a little bit of trouble with Lennox's mic, but we got the gist of it from his the video aspect of his scorecard. You gave that last round to Holyfield. What do you think, Joe?
Well, I thought that Holmes did quite well and really landed the more effective punches and blocked a lot of the Holyfield shots, with the exception of possibly that last one.
I'm with you on that. Now the chance of Larry at Caesars Palace as we start the 5th round in the middle of the ring. Larry landed the right, and then Holyfield landed.
Holmes stepped in with a jab right hand that really had a lot of vicious intent on it, and of course Holyfield wrote it out and tried to come back with his own counter right hand.
This is more of what Holyfield would like. Exchanges off the ropes. It seems to be the way we've been operating in the odd-numbered rounds. Larry conserving the energy. Holyfield utilizing it more. Nearly a minute gone in the 5th. Holmes with the jabs. One connected, one grazed. Holyfield works the body with the right and the head with the left.
Holmes is very, very clever. I mean, he is rolling with these punches. He's dipping and using his elbows to block the body shots. And landed a 1-2. Landed a great right hand and wobbled Holyfield a little bit right there.
And Holyfield comes back with a right of his own. For even that big right hand in the 3rd round from Holyfield, Holmes was turning on it.
That's right, and that's why I said it didn't look like it affected his eyes. You got to look into a fighter's eyes. And there goes that counter right hand.
And a good combination from Holyfield. Holmes started it, and then Holyfield came back and finished it.
That's right. Holmes led with the right hand, and Holyfield came back. Something Mercer did not do in that fight, as we go back to that fight as an example. And also threw the left hook off that right hand. Holyfield came back the right hand and left hook to counter punch and turned Larry Holmes here in the corner.
Holmes with a good right hand out of the corner. You can see why Lou Duva wants Holyfield to dance away as he's doing now. He wants Holmes to come out after him.
Well, Holmes can come out and just lead Holyfield right back to the corner again if he so desires.
Connected with the right, Holmes did. Working the body again, Holyfield is as the 5th round wanes. Again, Holmes smiling down and now talking to George Foreman. Larry doing some running commentary of his own in the 5th round.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm quite...
Give him an angle. He's reaching. Shot. Gotcha.
I shouldn't say I'm surprised, but I really am in awe of what a great account Larry Holmes is giving of himself right now. It's a back and forth battle at this point.
It ain't long. Listen. Start stepping to him with that jab. Touching him. Walk him down.
Be careful you don't run into nothing. All you gotta do is just give me that jab. All right, now look, drink this water.
Joe, through 5 rounds, it's more than just a good account of himself. It goes farther than that. And you saw the jab differential. Holyfield throwing a lot more, but Holmes is a lot more effective from a percentage standpoint as we start the 6th round.
Maybe I'm stopping short of saying that Larry Holmes is winning a lot of these rounds as this fight goes on. But as the CompuBox stats showed, he's landed 49% of his punches, if I'm not mistaken.
It's with jabs.
Jabs, was it?
Yeah. Oh, Holyfield cracked the right hand over the top.
He did, and again, Holmes is rolling with it. Got
a couple jabs from Holyfield.
Larry Holmes is great at getting in the shoulder in the way of the chin and rolling with that punch.
Backs off towards the ropes, and Holyfield obliges him. Comes in after him with the right. Minute gone in the 6th. The grazing left hook from Holyfield.
I think Larry Holmes playing a little waiting game here, letting Evander shoot off some steam, laying against ropes. He's deflecting a lot of punches. And let's see if he turns it on the last half of this round to pull it out for himself.
Holmes will jab, and then Holyfield will come in after him. Holmes trying to hold him at arm's length with the left hand. And Holyfield working the body again.
Larry Holmes stuck out that jab. Holyfield put a right hand right under the jab to the ribs. He's going to have to do a lot more than that to really get Larry Holmes in trouble. He's going to have to be punching in combinations once he gets inside.
Larry missing the big uppercut. Inside of a minute remaining in the 6th. Fairly even fight thus far. Mills Lane says no wrestling as they were pushing off towards the corner. Oh, right hand from Larry Holmes. And Holyfield, as he's shown, continues to take the big punches. Lands some of his own. Another right hand over the top from Holyfield. The left, another right from Evander. And Holmes coming out of there.
One or two of those right hands got in. Larry Holmes again deflecting a lot. Came back with a little body shot of his own. But landed the more clean and effective punches right before that series on the ropes here with two right hands. Holmes landed two great right hands.
Final seconds of the 6th.
Well, it looks like Evander got a headbutt right off the ropes there, and I'm not sure. He is cut, and it's a bad cut in the eyelid.
Around the eye. And that's exactly what Lou Duva, now he's out yelling at Mills Lane in the ring.
Well, Lou Duva said he hit him with the headbutt, but it was Evander Holyfield that looked like he fell forward into the ropes, and Mills Lane is saying he didn't see what happened.
And Duva's trying to claim it was intentional. Because should it be ruled accidental and should it go to the cards and should Holmes be ahead, he would be the winner if Holyfield were not able to continue.
Exactly.
That's exactly what Duva was talking about earlier this evening during the tape we showed you.
In defense of Larry Holmes, that butt came either at the bell or a little bit after the bell when Holyfield fell into him on the ropes. And proof of that is Mills Lane had already turned away from it. That's why he didn't see it. Here we go. Both
elbow. Elbow.
Let's see it. It was an elbow he caught as he came in. They were trading punches. That was accidental.
It was an elbow. And Mills Lane telling Lou Duva to get out of the ring.
It's a terrible cut, and it's in the eyelid, and it's already bleeding, and it's bothering Evander Holyfield.
Remember, we talked about fateful 7th rounds. Here we go. For Larry Holmes. Holmes trying to work that eye with the jab. It was an elbow, as we saw from that replay, right at the end of the round. And now Holyfield squinting a bit as the blood flows from the right eye. The champ with blood on his face and on his trunks. And a long way to go.
I can't remember when I've ever seen Evander Holyfield cut. And cut of this magnitude. This is really runs the length of the eyebrow underneath in the eyelid in a very bad spot. Wow, that is a gaping gash on Evander Holyfield.
And Holyfield trying to go back to normal procedure, jabbing and then following up with the right.
Holyfield's offense has been virtually ineffective against Larry Holmes to this point.
And snapped his head back with a jab there, Joe. Midway through the 7th round. The blood continues to flow in the right eye of Evander Holyfield. Holyfield backs Holmes up again. Lands some punches. Not a lot on those blows, but they are landing. trying to hold him off with the left hand, as he's wont to do inside of a minute remaining in the 7th. Holmes with the right. A good left jab from Larry Holmes. A right over the top from Holyfield. Backs Holmes into the corner. Holmes has his gloves up in defense.
He's blocked all of those body shots. He rolled with that right hand, deflected the power from it. The crowd roared, but in all fairness and honesty, that right hand didn't land. Oh, good right hand by Larry Holmes. Stepped right in off the jab. And Evander Holyfield looks very fatigued, very tired, and looks like his confidence is really starting to deteriorate in this fight. Well, here comes Dr. Flip Pomansky. They don't want Flip Pomansky to see this cut. Lou Duke is trying to block him out.
See, now keep the jab going. See, that's all you got to do. See, the jab is it. Jab him, stick him, make it miss, and make him pay. You understand? Now, you don't have to get into a fight with this guy.
Okay.
You're making this guy look like he's still champion. Now, don't get in a fight with him. Okay. Just step around him. He got to look for you, and he can't do it.
Okay. Here we go. Larry Holmes missed the right hand, and Holyfield walked right into it.
Looked like he walked into an elbow. Round number 8, scheduled for 12. The bleeding has stopped momentarily.
In Holyfield's corner, they've hired freelance cutman Ace Murata. Have adrenaline will travel, and he really put a hold on the bleeding in that eyelid of Evander Holyfield.
Larry is talking to Evander Holyfield as he fights him. Holyfield obliges him with a combination that lands. Good left to the body and the right over the top from Holyfield. So Holyfield, despite the cut, is fighting his fight.
Despite the cut, but now that cut is opened up again, and it is dripping blood. And there's got to be a sense of urgency on Holyfield's part at this point, because that cut is very bad and it's bleeding. And I don't know how much longer that the doctor will let this fight go on with a cut like that.
Holmes would love nothing better than to work the jab right at that cut. Maybe should be doing more of it. Take advantage of the situation midway through the 8th.
Well, first thing you want to do is land the jab anywhere. Second thing you'd like to do is land it on that cut. But he's got his hands full landing it anywhere. You know, for the difference in sculptures of the body here, Holmes and Evander's, it's really Evander Holyfield that seems to be laboring with his breathing at this point.
Not to mention the age differential of 13 years. Coming down to a minute to go in the 8th round. Not as eventful as some of the earlier ones. Quiet 8th round. Not bleeding profusely, Joe. The blood has welled up, but I think they did a pretty decent job in the last break in his corner.
Of course, Evander, for the first 2 minutes and 2.5 minutes of this round, really has been doing all the fighting in this round, and
Holyfield breathing heavier than Holmes at this point,
yes,
which is rather amazing in the final seconds of the 8th round.
He's got a lot to deal with, especially with this cut.
Well, those who bet the over, it went more than midway through the 8th.
Sit down right here. Come on, put that up. Okay. Now the jab is working good for you. You understand? Now keep the jab going.
Come on, baby. 9th round. Evander, you're way ahead of us here. You're going to box this guy, outsmart this guy. Keep him in the center of the ring.
And Lennox Lewis through 8 rounds. How have you scored it for us tonight?
So far, I've scored 5 rounds for Holyfield and 2 rounds for Holmes and 1 draw. Holmes is gaining a lot of ground.
All right. So a 3-point edge, according to Lennox Lewis. Did you see the replay? It looked like an elbow to you, too?
Yeah, that was an unlucky shot. Definitely.
Put your foot in front of his and push him back now. Now's your time. Hit him with this left hook. Help him up.
Well, that should be the 8th round rather than round 0. Most important man here tonight, Ace Murata, the cut man in Holyfield's corner. Right now he has it stopped as we begin the 9th round.
Don Turner urging Larry Holmes to come out and fight a little bit more. He knows he probably dropped that round by really being virtually threw very few punches in that round, and Holyfield definitely took that round by virtue of his pressure and his body work. But Holmes has got to get busy if he wants to get back in this fight and rack up some more points.
Holyfield scoring. Larry trying to shake some moisture off the bottom of his shoe. He came out dripping wet. They must have poured a gallon of water over him during that break. His trunks are soaking. And Holyfield working the jab. The action has slowed here in the last couple of rounds. And Holyfield swings and misses, and his own momentum took him down. Drilled a slip, of course. Holyfield going for the big roundhouse, and they touch gloves.
Well, it's surprising Holmes, with as well as he did early on, is really kind of not being as active as he should be if he wants to win the World Heavyweight Championship. He's kind of letting it slide out of his hands here, and he's abandoned the rope-a-dope that he stuffed in the corner that was working so well for him.
He's abandoned just about everything in this round, Joe. Very little jabbing from him, very little of anything. Maybe Holyfield sensed it and went for that one big knockout punch. Judging a round like this, it's really the man who carries the action, and up to this point it's Holyfield.
That's right.
He snaps Holmes' head back with another jab. Oh, and Larry counters with a right hand, and a rare left hook from Holmes inside of a minute to go in the 9th.
This is what I pointed out at the beginning of the fight. Larry Holmes had to be prepared to go 12 rounds, 3 minutes a round, and he's really not doing that. He's fading a little bit here. He's trying to steal the round by coming on at the end of the round here, the last minute, and it's being somewhat successful. He's being somewhat successful with it. But to win over the judges, and he's had bad luck here in Vegas, especially with the Spinks fights, he better get on the ball if he wants to win this fight.
Little trickle coming out of the cut over the right eye. And Holmes now the man breathing harder, so maybe the last 3 rounds conditioning will tell in the warm Las Vegas night. It's no longer hot. Holyfield cracks a right hand. Really his advantage in this round based on his activity in taking the fight to Holmes.
Exactly right, Len.
Coming up. Just a 3-round fight, an amateur fight coming. You got to step to your left and hit him. Boy, you got the shot. You got the shot, Porter.
You understand? You're the champion. You ain't got to prove nothing, right? You just fight a smart fight. I got it. That is what you do. Now, that was a good round. You jabbed him to death. Keep it going. So as long as you're moving around, the guy can't do nothing to you. Common sense would make you keep doing it, right?
Step to your left and throw. Shot.
Only 4 times has Evander Holyfield fought into the 10th round as a professional. 22 times for Larry Holmes, but obviously he was a younger man at the time. Here we go, round number 10. An amateur fight, as they said in the corner, meaning 3 rounds to go. But this is for the undisputed heavyweight championship. And really a lull has settled over. Crowd waiting for something to happen, which isn't the last couple of rounds.
Well, Larry Holmes may have been cruising these past couple rounds to save it, to turn it on these last few rounds here and maybe steal the show or try to go for a knockout somehow. And I think that's what he needs, because Holyfield's taken the last few rounds.
You saw right there, Holyfield would not go into the corner with him, and now he's backing off the ropes a little bit. But worked very effectively in the 2nd and 4th rounds for Larry Holmes. Hasn't really worked since. And the most telling blow thus far was in the 6th round. What we think is an unintentional elbow from Larry Holmes right at the end of the round. Bleeding has been stopped. Credit Ace Murata for that.
Beautiful job. When an occasional right hand downstairs from Larry Holmes also right there. The tactics of Larry Holmes throughout this fight, the defensive tactics, have really taken its worn out Evander Holyfield. He's really had to expend a lot of energy. He's missed a lot of punches, had a lot blocked, and it shows right here. He just doesn't look as vigorous as he should, really, with the amount of resistance he's gotten from Larry Holmes offensively.
But the offense has just about ceased over the last couple of rounds from Larry Holmes. Well, and a few boos from the crowd, as they also sense the inactivity amongst these 2 heavyweights going for the title. And if it continues like this and finishes up a decision, and should Holyfield win, all the same questions will go unanswered about Evander Holyfield. As I watch this, I'm wondering if Mike Tyson meant what he said the other night, that he's not interested in boxing and doesn't want to fight. And I'm wondering if he is not watching this in Indiana tonight behind bars, and what he might be thinking. Inside of 30 seconds remaining in the 10th round. Of course, they may not have pay-per-view behind bars at America's institutions, Joe.
No, they just have basic cable there.
I see. So much of the same. The 8th, 9th, and 10th round, much to the disappointment of a nearly sellout crowd at Caesars Palace.
All right, now listen. Stay busy with that jab. You understand? Stay busy with the jab. Don't stand still.
All right, no problem.
And bring him off them ropes. You understand? All right.
Well, they're giving Evander Holyfield tactical advice in the corner. I think at this point he needs more than that. I think he needs a pep talk to go in and try to get a knockout.
Lennox Lewis, take it away through 10.
Holyfield, I gave 7 rounds. Holmes 2 and 1 draw. If I was Holmes, I would be going after that cut desperately.
Well, at this point, Holmes isn't really going after much. And the reason I say Holyfield should be going after a knockout, not because he's behind on the scorecards, but because he's really got to do something here to win over the fans and make them forget about this dull fight here.
Yep.
Exactly. I'm following up on that, and you're 100% right.
Lennox Lewis, your mic is open now, so feel free to join in the commentary here in the 11th round, and we'll see what the tactics are as less than 6 minutes now remain in the title fight.
Oh, a beautiful right hand by Larry Holmes. Another one, and those really have Evander a little wobbly, even though he's still moving forward. Those have him shaken.
One of Holmes' better punches tonight. It comes in the 11th round. Maybe he was saving himself in the last 3.
Well, I'll tell you, Evander's really laboring right now. He doesn't look like he's ready to fight back after these right hands. He's not counter-punching. He's kind of falling backwards. I think Larry Holmes should really be turning it on right here.
If he can, that's the question. And Evander Holyfield's right eye a little bit closed as he goes with the left hand. Does Holmes have it left for that assault, Joe? That's the question.
Holmes should definitely step up the pace.
All right, he's got Evander with his mouth open. He's really not doing much. He's waiting for something to happen. Holmes has got to let it hang out. He's probably, you know, this fight, he's probably not in all the way. I'm sure the scoring has got to be in Holyfield's favor at this point. And he's got to do something big to win it.
Came out with a big right hand in the start of the 11th, but hasn't followed up. Holyfield still content to work the body with 1:15 remaining in the 11th. Oh, Holmes says, come on, puts his hands down, come after me. Holyfield just stands there. Draw a line in the sand, guys.
Holyfield as the champion is looking a little tired out there.
Well, this is exactly what happened to him a year last April against George Foreman, of course. At the end, it was Evander Holyfield that was really looked the more fatigued of the two. Both of them were very tired, but Evander the more fatigued of the two.
The crowd again starts the Larry chant as we come up on 35 seconds remaining in the 11th. With a right hand. Holyfield tries to go back after him, but another good right hand from the challenger.
A couple good right hands by Holmes, and he bailed out with a left hook. And of course, we got a little time. I think a little tape on the glove of Larry Holmes. You're getting hit with all that leather, and they stop it in a nice flurry like that for a little piece of tape.
And that helps Evander Holyfield at that moment. Going to fix that tape. Not a split glove as there was during the Cooper fight. Just a little tape job.
Right away.
See the blood there by the right eye.
All right, time. All right, here we go, man. Let's go.
I think Holyfield might have enjoyed that little break. Final seconds of the 11th round. And a good Larry Holmes.
Another good 1-2 from Larry Holmes. Comes out with a couple more. Holmes definitely took that round big. Landed a good 7-8 good right hands during that round.
And it brings the crowd to life.
Last round, baby. Now listen, this guy's going to try to throw bombs at you. You're going to block the rope. You understand? So at the end,
3 minutes, baby. 3 minutes. 3 minutes, baby. 3 minutes in the new. You gonna knock him out.
Here we go with a little replay here. We got Holmes, of course. We got a little frozen action there. And here's Holmes missing a hook and stepping to the side, coming back with a chopping right hand.
Did you hear what Larry said there? I've got to knock him out. That was Holmes saying.
He knows it, and he's the only rational one really right now in that corner, because they're telling him 3 minutes, and really what he needs is a knockout in this fight. Holmes, 56% of the, I don't know if that was jabs or punches, but it was 56% of something. But Larry Holmes does need a knockout to win this fight.
Touch gloves for the 12th and final round for the World Heavyweight Championship. Holyfield abandoning the jab there in the 11th. Holmes will be going for the knockout. He knows himself he needs it.
There's that jab landing on that cut, and it did reopen it again. A little blood starting to trickle out, but I think the 3 minutes, the doctors and the referee will let this fight go on, regardless of how much blood comes out of that cut during this round.
Of course, Holmes thinks he needs the knockout, but when it goes to judges' scorecards, you just don't know how close it might be at this point.
Nice left hook to the liver by Holyfield, following a couple shots to the head.
Holyfield, left hook connects.
One of the things that can happen when you get a little desperate and need a knockout like Holmes does, or thinks he does, you leave yourself vulnerable to maybe some strong shots by Holyfield.
Look at the laughing from Larry Holmes. Now he goes into a bit of an Ali movement as Holyfield was landing there, and Holmes was showing disdain, but he has to show more than that here with 1:40 remaining.
That's right, and by laying on the ropes and Holyfield not obliging him, nothing's going to happen for Larry Holmes. He's got to press it like he did with that right hand, and that was a nice shot. Well, I'll tell you, he's landed some beautiful right hands on Holyfield. Either Larry Holmes doesn't have the same starch he did on his right hand years ago, or Holyfield's chin, as we well know, is a real good one.
Remarkable that the 13-year age difference, and they're breathing about the same here with 1:12 to go in a 12th round fight.
Oh! Two more right hands, a long one and a short one on the inside, landed by Holmes. You know, you got to ask yourself, are the judges maybe going to remember how Holmes may have gotten jobbed in that last Spinks fight, which I think he did, and maybe try to make it up to him a little bit?
I think that's a reach, Joe.
I don't know.
It's a long time ago.
Well, let me tell you something. We saw something like that happen with the fight recently against Tommy Hearns and Iran Barkley. They, in my estimation, gave Tommy Hearns a lot more credit in that fight than they should have against Barkley.
Maybe based on overall reputation, but not one specific incident. Here we go with 33 seconds remaining. Larry Holmes coming on strong in the 11th and 12th after resting in 8 through 10. Couple good hooks by Holyfield with the left hand. And this fight ending in a flurry, and Holyfield with the left. It has Holmes up against the ropes, and Holmes trying to battle out of there with 15 seconds to go. Both looking for one big punch, and now Holyfield backs off.
It's Holmes who runs Holyfield off the ropes here. He only had 15 seconds left. He should fight to the finish here and ensure the victory for himself.
And Holyfield ends bleeding, and the two of them, well, finally, Holyfield the one to put an arm around Holmes. Holmes, as George Foreman did before him, takes the champion the distance. And now we'll go to the scorecards. One judge from the state of Washington, one from New York City, and one from here in Las Vegas.
Larry, great fight. Good job. Come on, let's go. Let's go.
So they continue to tend to that cut. Opened up, we think, by an inadvertent elbow at the end of the 6th round. There were no knockdowns. Holyfield's biggest punches landed in the 3rd, and Larry Holmes had his moments throughout and came on strong, particularly in the 11th and 12th rounds. And as you see, Lennox Lewis gave the last 2 rounds to Larry Holmes. So on Lennox's unofficial scorecard, he has Holyfield a 3-point winner. But the fight not quite going the way most of the experts predicted. Most people said that Holyfield would win. I'd say the predominant feeling was he would stop Larry Holmes in perhaps the 7th or 8th rounds. Well, this one went the full 12.
The shot you hit him with a knockdown of 3. I was there to survive. He didn't want to fight. I thought he was going to fight that way.
Well, that was Duva's point of view. Question still remains on the knockout power potential of Evander Holyfield, now through 3 defenses. And a smile from Larry Holmes and a hug. And we'll check out some final statistics. Total punches in the fight. Evander Holyfield threw a lot more, landed 40 more. Holmes's connect percentage as a result a little bit higher because Holmes threw less, but Evander Holyfield certainly the aggressor, and that comes into effect with number of punches landed as well when it's scored. Jabs in the fight. Evander Holyfield threw a bit more, and quite even. So Holyfield and Holmes even there, and we still await the judge's decision, which will tell us if Evander Holyfield retains his title.
Let's get the decision. Let's get the decision. Come on. Don't forget it. You know it. Oh, perfect.
And we're ready now for the decision, everyone. Michael Buffer.
We go to the scorecards. Chuck Giampa scores the bout 116 to 112. That's the same score, 116 to 112 from Carol Castellano. And Glenn Hamada has it 117 to 111 for the winner by unanimous decision, and still the undisputed heavyweight champion of the
So just about as we saw it, Evander Holyfield retains his title, and now we'll look forward to the winner of the Riddick-Bowe-Pierre Kutzer fight coming up in July. And that championship fight may very well wind up in November to be Evander Holyfield versus either Bowe or Kutzer. That's the way it looks right now. And Larry Holmes still may have a fight down the road with George Foreman. Holmes is not finished yet, despite a 12-round decision loss to Evander Holyfield. And Joe Goosen standing by in the ring with the champion. Joe?
All right, I'm here with the still champion Evander Holyfield. Evander, this was a difficult fight for you tonight, was it not?
First of all, I'd like to thank God, Lord Jesus Christ, my Savior, the Holy Spirit, and I'm dedicating this fight to my brother. No, the fight wasn't easy. I didn't come in thinking the fight was easy. Larry Holmes proved that he a crafty fighter, had a great defense, and it was hard to figure him out. And a lot of shots that I hit, he was just able to shield.
Well, as I was calling it, it seemed like he rode out a lot of your punches. He parried a lot of punches and blocked a lot of punches. Of course, it seemed like you were the more active fighter. Did that seem to tire you out, him blocking and parrying a lot of punches?
No, it didn't tire me out. I knew I had to fight a cautious fight because a lot of my punches wasn't landing because it was slipping off his arm. Seemed like he had his body very moist and couldn't get a lot of good body shots to him. And it just showed that he's a very crafty fighter. And I wasn't giving out of gas. I knew I just had to not concentrate on just trying to knock him out, but concentrate mostly on the win.
What happened there along the ropes when that clash of, I think it was his elbow that hit you in the eye? What exactly happened there in your mind?
Well, I threw the right hand, and he was swinging. He missed with a shot, and his elbow caught me high on the eye. Something that happened my first battle wound.
Now, Evander, in your eyes, did you need a knockout to keep yourself as really the top dog in the heavyweight division against Larry Holmes? Does it hurt you that you didn't knock him out?
No, I don't think so. It's a matter of opinion on other people's part. I fought a smart fight. I went out there, and I didn't push myself to the point where I'm going to get very reckless and careless, because I knew that he was fighting a defensive fight, and it's hard to actually take a guy out with a defensive fight. I tried a lot of different things. I tried to let him come on, let him swing the shot, make the shot glance, and try to counter. But he was able to recover quick and go back to the road and use the ropes as a defensive weapon.
Now, let me ask you another question here, Evander. He hit you with some right hands. How did they affect you? You seem to take them very well. Is it that you got a great chin, or is his punch just isn't as effective as that right hand as we might have thought?
Well, he threw some good right hand, but I seen the right hand coming as I was able to turn with a lot of punches, so he wasn't able to get everything home on the punches.
Excuse me, Evander, and thank you for answering that question. Let me ask Lou Duva. Lou, was there a time in that fight where you concerned about Larry Holmes, because he was doing quite well in the earlier round?
No, I was never concerned about him. The only thing I was concerned about was the cut, keeping the cut under control, which we did. It's the first time he's ever been cut, and he stood up like a champ.
That's right. Some guys, they can get cut and they can fold.
No, he never got excited about that. We just did our job and brought him along.
Lennox Lewis is going to be fighting, from what I understand, Razor Ruddock. What's the next challenge for Evander? And of course, you got the two old guys out of the way, Larry Holmes, George Foreman. What's really up in store for Evander? Who's the tough guy you're going to meet next?
Well, we'd like to fight Razor Ruddock, Lennox Lewis, but especially we'd like to fight Riddick-Bowe. That's the guy we'd like to fight. But if that don't work out, we'd be glad to fight the winner of Ruddock and Lennox Lewis. No problem.
Well, Evander Holyfield certainly has the opportunity, since you're still world champion. Evander, good luck to you in the future. And back to you, Len, ringside.
All right, thank you, Joe. So what you can glean from those comments is that Lou Duva and Evander Holyfield less concerned about what Larry Holmes did to them throughout the night, but very concerned about that cut. And Ace Murata did the job on it, and as Evander Holyfield phrased it, my first battle wound. He has never been cut before, and he was cut here tonight, but he still gained that 12-round decision. Of course, now all the same critics will say he could not put Foreman away. Now he could not put Larry Holmes away. But the bottom line, again, about Evander Holyfield is all he does is win. Let's go back into the ring and Joe Goosen.
All right, I've got the challenger tonight. Larry Holmes came up a little short, a little bit more than a little bit short on some of the scorecards. Larry, you fought a tremendous defensive fight, and you had some real flashes of brilliance, some great right hands. It seemed like you faded a little bit towards the end as far as your offense was concerned. I know Don Turner was encouraging you to fight more, and at the end you said in the last round you needed a knockout. Summarize the fight for me if you can.
Well, he didn't follow my plans, which,
that's the right thing to do. He fought a good fight, a smart fight, and he's stronger than I thought he would be. And he didn't tire like I thought he would. So, you know, he's got my support. He's a great champion, and I think he can go a long way.
Now, Larry, did you accomplish more tonight than you might have thought, or did you think that you fell a little short, that you really could have won that title tonight?
I thought I could win it. He was doing the things that I wanted him to do earlier, and he followed that plan, then he got off of it. You know, you can't take nothing from the guy. The guy's a tough fighter, and he wanted that championship, you know, no matter what people say about him. He's a great champion, and I just want to thank Holyfield for giving me the opportunity, Bob Arum, and my wife for helping me out, going along with it. And I want to say to all the fans around the world, hey, thank you for the support. I gave it my best, and we're going to go home and get on my boat and go fishing.
Now, Larry, in my estimation, you look like you could have beaten a lot of the top 10 guys, or at least a few of the top 10 guys in the heavyweight division. And keeping that in mind, does that mean that you might go on and continue to challenge maybe some of the other guys and try for another shot?
Starting all over again. It's really rough, y'all. Real rough. So what I want to do is relax, not say anything about anything as far as going on or whatnot. You know, I'm 42 years old, and we just want to relax a little bit. You know, we had a good year and a half in this comeback, and I accomplished a lot. These young lions out there is not fighting anyone, and let me tell them all right now, they better be ready when they go in the ring with Evander Holyfield, because
now we've got Roberto Duran here. Is Roberto coming in to challenge you for the heavyweight title? What's going on here with Roberto?
Only in a bar or over a beer. I don't believe in the ring. Roberto's
all right.
My friend, he's a great champion, and you know, we both do what we have to do.
Let me finish by saying that we have Bob Arum, Larry Holmes, the promoter here. Bob, would you like to finalize the night by saying something?
I think it was a gallant effort, and I'm behind Larry, whatever plans he has. But the fight that I would like to make and the public would like to see is let the young guys fight the young guys. Let's have the senior heavyweight championship of the world, Big George against Larry Holmes. For all the marbles, it's probably the biggest fight that's out there.
And why not? You put the Duran, Hagler, Hearns senior tour together, and that was one of the more exciting tours. All right. Thank you very much. Let me get back to Len ringside before Larry gets a little more angry with me.
Well, Larry's demeanor was very upbeat, nothing bitter from some of his earlier fights, and from the tenor there, not real anxious to climb right back into the ring. He wants to get on his boat and fish a little bit, but Bob Arum wasted no time in beating the drums, perhaps for the old geezers at Caesars. It would be a Holmes and a Foreman. I think the public would want to see it, you know, when all is said and done. Of course, you have all those young fighters that have to fight each other, perhaps to get to Evander Holyfield. But in general, Larry Holmes was very gracious in saying that Evander Holyfield is a heck of a champion. You'll note he said that Holyfield didn't really follow his plan, meaning Holmes's plan, after the early going. That meant in that second round and then again in the fourth round, when Larry Holmes was in the corner and Holyfield was content to stay with him, and that's where Holmes was really scoring. But after that, as Larry said, Holmes didn't want to play along anymore, and that's what gave the advantage to Evander Holyfield. So the champion goes to 28-0, and to recap the scoring, it was not real close. Carol Castellano from New York City, Chuck Ciampa from Las Vegas, both scored it 116 to 112, and Glenn Hamada from the state of Washington scoring it 117 to 111. So nothing is a done deal coming up. There's a lot of talk and speculation, because Riddick Bowe will now fight Pierre Kutzer, and there are many who think that the winner of that fight will get Evander Holyfield here in November, and that's a scenario, but that's just one possibility. A lot can happen between now and then. So another fun night here in the heavyweights in Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. Happy to be with you as Evander Holyfield once again, all he does is win. Let's go back to our host, Cambrell Marshall.
Thank you very much, Lynn Berman. Certainly heavyweight championship of the world, an exciting event no matter where it is, and Evander Holyfield, as you said, all he does is win. Exciting heavyweight action. And really, we've had a full night of boxing here for the last time before we take a break for the summer. We started the evening with the junior featherweights in action, and Pedro Decima in action, and he was defeated by Rudy Zavala, who came on and stopped Decima in the 6th round. Zavala now goes to 17-0-1, hoping for a shot at a world championship. To the heavyweights, where Jorge Luis Gonzalez took care of Michael Greer rather easily. The referee stopped that bout after the second round, and that's a TKO for him. Gonzalez now 10-0 as he hopes to go ahead and make some waves and get some attention as a heavyweight. To the NABF Welterweight Championship, it was Luis Yuriboy Campos winning the crown away from Roger Turner. And Yuriboy coming in with his headdress from the Indian tribe in Mexico. A ritual for him to wear it in and to wear it out, and he wore it out as a champion tonight. The majority decision for him, so he goes home as the NABF champion. And of course, the heavyweight championship of the world, Evander Holyfield defeating Larry Holmes by a unanimous decision. Both fighters holding off and kind of waiting until they can figure out what they want to do next. But Holyfield now is going to have to take some time out and let that cut heal and take on all challengers after that. As I mentioned earlier, we will be taking some time off for the summer. The Olympic boxing is going on, you know, and if you want to get pay-per-view boxing action just because TVKO is taking a little break, you can still get it with the Olympics. It's called the Olympic Triple Cast, and it's a new and unique way to watch pay-per-view Olympic boxing. Always interesting. Certainly tonight, Evander Holyfield, one of those who establishes credibility in the Olympic Games and moved on to the heavyweight championship of the world. Always nice to visit Las Vegas. We complete this evening of competition, TVKO's pay-per-view boxing. It's a pleasure. We hope to see you down the road a bit. I'm Cambrell Marshall for Joe Goosen and Lynn Berman. Good night, everybody.